folks, we're back here with Dan Mueller again. And Dan, I noticed today when we were fishing on this new lake that we set a whole bunch of stuff up. We got in our seats, we settled down, and you stopped using the trolling motor, and you told me to sit very still. Can you explain to me what was going on, what your thought process is, and why we were doing it?
Sure, Ron. The stealth approach to come up on the fish to keep from spooking them. Something you want to think about is that as you're fishing for those crappie that are sitting possibly in shallower water or in the water column just maybe 4 feet down, as you're fishing them and spider rigging, you want to make sure that you come into them silently, the silent mode, that you don't spook those fish off the structure, so that you can get a bait into the fish. If you don't get them into the fish, of course they're going to spook and leave you. So the one thing you want to do is run silent and, as the old saying, run deep. And that way then you can come in and catch those fish instead of spooking them away before you get a chance at them.
Now I did notice that you took the bait bucket that was behind us up here, you took that and even though you had carpet on here, you still put it on a pad. What is the reason behind that?
Sound. Sound travels 4 times faster in water than it does in the air.
So the aerator and us clunking around getting minnows out,
absolutely,
that projects a lot of sound.
Exactly.
Now on the spider rigging, you had told me something about the spread and why it's so important when you're coming up to stealthy. What was the
absolutely. We set out the rods when we do spider rigging 180 degrees from left to right across the front of the boat. The reason for that is as you're pushing down using the trolling motor through the water, those fish are hearing that trolling motor. Even though it runs silent, it's the quietest thing on the water, they still feel those vibrations from that motor. As they do that, just like you see a bait fish school, when you go through a bait fish school, they'll push out in front of you and then push around the sides of it. So what we will do with the spider rigs is set them out 180 degrees, anywhere from 14 to 16 feet out from the boat, so that we're getting to those fish before we spook them away. And then as they spook and come off to the sides of the boat, we want to catch them on the sides of the boat with those rods on the side. So that's why we set those rods up in 180 degrees arc across the front of the boat.
Super. So you're actually kind of plowing your way through into the fish. That's kind of what you're doing.
Exactly.
But you're doing it very stealthily and very quietly.
Yes.
And that's why we're sitting very, very still. It's almost like hunting in a way, but you're hunting fish.
It was this summer too. The summer fish will set tight to a log or tied to a stump or something like that. You push that boat up into those fish and you just sit silent waiting for those fish to bite. And when they do, they'll trigger and you'll catch all those fish from just being quiet. And they see that bait and they get hungry, and next thing you know, you've gotten about 3 or 4 of them to bite real quick.
Well, super. Well, there you go, folks. Make sure that when you're out on the water and you're doing the spider rigging, make sure you make it a stealthy approach. Put your bait bucket on something that's quiet, like a mat or a towel. Turn your trolling motor off, let the wind drift you in, and take your time, make a stealthy approach, and you're going to catch more fish.